Broadcasting from ESB Brewing, 333 North Falkenberg Road, Sweet D. Sweet D 407. By the way, Boston sucks. I say that because the VSJ is standing outside the vertically superior Jamie.
You ever hear a Boston girl have an orgasm? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Had it. Oh, God, that was so good.
Much love to her
Good
buddy
job,
Jamie.
Sancho.
By the way, you can find Jamie over at the Brass Tap in Ybor City. An excellent bartender. But if you want to be a part of the show, you want to call in, you can do so 813-438-6068. That's the number to call. If you're also a fan of the show, go to Facebook and our social media pursuit there, facebook.com/The Cranial Missions Network. Like the goddamn page and follow us on Twitter at Cranial E. Guys, it's hockey time. It's the playoffs.
Yeah, baby.
Some teams, like ones from Boston, wouldn't know what the playoffs are.
Golfers.
Yeah, the Bruins wouldn't know anything about the NHL playoffs.
He can't hear us right
But
now.
he's not listening right now. But
That's okay, but his wife is outside. She's lovely. Lovely Jess.
But, we can talk all the smack we want, but it wasn't a good night for us last night as Lightning fans.
It wasn't a dreadful night, but we outplayed ourselves, really. I mean, we got caught in the we could say all day that the refs were to blame, and they're going to let us play. They're going to let them play. They're not going to call these calls that would normally get called.
Wait a second. I just heard two things that I disagree with. You say we outplayed ourselves and the refs were to blame. There was only one.
No, I'm not saying the refs were to blame.
No, there was only one person to blame in that loss.
Oh, God.
And his
are you
name
going to be the Ben
is
Bishop guy?
Ben Bishop.
Yeah.
A midget toddler could have stopped a shot that Luke Clendening scored the winning goal with.
I'll give you
Don't
that.
talk about my wife like that.
That was one of the single worst goals I've ever seen given up in an NHL playoff game.
It was pretty crappy.
It was embarrassing.
It was, I have to say. But, I mean, hold on. But, I'm not going to start with that. But the problem with the Lightning last night is they made really crappy mistakes. You see that? Huh?
Yeah.
Really
Good
junky
catch.
mistakes
Good
at really inopportune times, and Detroit is very good at capitalizing on mistakes.
The first two goals I will not fault Ben Bishop on.
No,
they were
not in the
phenomenal shots by Pavel Datsyuk, who is, by all means, one of the most talented forwards in the NHL. So
He looks a little funny, though.
those I don't fault. But that last goal, like I said, which was the backbreaker, that one was all Ben Bishop. I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if after the game he owned up to it. But, it was frustrating because you watch the game. They outshot them. I believe the shot total at the end was, 46-14?
Yeah, it was
I think the shots
insane.
were. They played literally about 75% of the game in Detroit's defensive zone. And one thing I did notice, though, people talk about how well Peter Mrazek, the goaltender for Detroit, played. The reality was, and this must have been a strategy that Mike Babcock decided to run with, the coach of the Red Wings, they clogged up the middle of the zone.
They played a trap.
And they forced everyone to the perimeter on the Lightning offense. So most of those shots were bad angle, low percentage shots.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's gonna have the angle full of cutoff, and Mrazek is not that great of a goalie, and he came up big, huge last night. He stole the game for them last night.
But again, a lot of those shots were low percentage shots.
I agree.
From bad angles. I will say I love the play of Nikita Nestorov.
Oh, yeah, he played great.
Brilliant shot where you saw Steve Stamkos jump. You need both outlines? You're going to make me go blind
You
here?
just, you just gave me yours.
Where Stamkos jumped about 3 feet up in the air for Nestorov to put that goal in. There was a lot of players that played very well. Brian Boyle, what a phenomenal shorthanded goal by Boyle.
They did play really well. There were a few times when and watching hockey, it's so tough. I'm fairly new to the hockey. I mean, I've always kind of liked hockey, but I'm following it more and more lately. It's so frustrating to watch when you see a good breakaway and then a pass that's just not picked up like it should be.
Palat?
Yes, exactly.
Paquette. No, it was Paquette. Paquette should have cranked that, and he went.
Yes.
He was all alone.
No, Kucherov had an empty net.
Well, that too, but Paquette was coming down. He had a guy right behind him. All he had to do was let it go and hope for a good rebound. Instead, he tried to pass through a very clogged, very well-guarded passing slot.
Oh, I'm talking about the one, I think it was Filppula that hit he came down the side, had a pass to the center.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just,
I can't remember who it was. Couldn't get to it, but he couldn't get to it, and he could get to it, but he just didn't get to it. It was so depressing because
I know which one you're talking. Yeah, there was a few plays there that just I wish we would have gone the other way, honestly.
But that's what makes it exciting, I guess.
Yeah. What could you do?
Well, if I'm the Lightning, if I'm the guys on the Lightning, you got to win. Obviously, the next game. The top home team in the NHL was the Tampa Bay Lightning this year. Unfortunately, they were one of the worst road teams. So they've got to split this series in the next game. And then, obviously, they've got to at least take one over in Joe Louis Arena. So
That'd be nice.
But the way they played, you were encouraged by it. You would assume that if they continued to play that way, they should win a game, all the games, provided Ben Bishop doesn't give up the booty anymore.
That was an exciting game to watch. I mean, the speed and the enthusiasm between the team, they were out to play. They were out to just win that game, and I guess they just couldn't do it.
I mean, the odds were majority in the Lightning's favor for a good part of that game. The Detroit kind of like ebbed and flowed from the whole trap system. And I hate to use every team uses that in some form or another at certain times of the thing.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain it to Chucky last night because he said, they play the trap. I said, well, they do a lot more than that.
Well, they actually play the left wing lock.
Right.
Which is a variation of the trap.
Right. I mean, it's virtually the same thing. It's just pretty much wedging everybody out to the outside.
The forecheck's a little different.
Right.
And one thing I will say...
It's very aggressive.
When there was about 3 minutes left, they went into a 2-2-1.
Yeah.
Basically, you got two forwards. You've got a forward and a defenseman in the neutral zone, then one guy hanging back, and so they were just clogging it up, and it worked well. But going out of the Lightning series, I've got some interesting stuff about the regular season I wanted to get into. We talked in the past about the lack of power plays called in the regular season. Now, granted, you haven't seen it in the playoffs. You've seen a lot of penalties.
Did you say regular?
No, I didn't say that. I would if I was in Japan.
North Korea, please.
But here are 10 facts, 10 crazy statistics from the regular season. Are you ready for this? The number 87.
You heard that, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
The number 87. This is the number of points that was recorded by the Art Ross Trophy winner, Jamie Benn, from the Dallas Stars. Now, this was the lowest tally, and we talked about this slightly last week. This is the lowest tally for a scoring title winner, the Art Ross winner, in a non-lockout season since 1967, when Stan Mikita won the title for the Blackhawks with 87 points.
He was good.
Okay, 1.091. This was Sidney Crosby's league best points per game average. It's the first time in 67 years that no qualified player averaged more than 1.1 points per game over the course of the season.
Unbelievable.
I told you, the offense is way down this year.
Way down.
3.06. This is the average number of power plays per team, per game, this season. It's the lowest total since record keeping began in the early 1960s. And just to put it into perspective, in 2005, 2006, the first season following the last lockout, the average amount of power plays was 5.85 a game. Almost half.
Jeez, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
This is what I've been saying. All this supports what I've been shouting to the rooftops about.
You have been.
16. That's the number of points separating the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers from the Calgary Flames, who had the lowest point total of any playoff qualifier at 97 points.
Well,
it's the smallest gap between number 1 and number 16 in league history.
We did say at the beginning of the year, remember I said this year it seems like it's prime. We all said this. It's primed to be a tight and race. And even back a couple months ago, we were like, dude, this is probably going to be one of the tightest, best endings to the hockey season ever.
Here's an interesting one for you. 7. This is the number of players on Detroit's active roster who weren't even born when the Red Wings began their streak of 24 straight playoff appearances.
Damn.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. No. Wow. And then, lastly, number 7. The number of teams that qualified for the 2014 Stanley Cup playoffs after missing the postseason the year before. It's the largest playover turnover in league history. So a lot of history in the making. Oh, I see some Secret Service people gathering about.
There's the truck. There's the truck.
I see some men in suits and sunglasses.
Who's the guy in tights? Oh, that's Felix. What is he running for?
Okay. Looks like we have a very important person coming into the studio for the next segment. Looking forward to that.
Wow.
Now, one other thing in the offseason. Well, now, as a result of the offseason, the Maple Leafs cleaning house, firing the GM, Dave Notice, and their coach, Peter Horacek. No surprise, and Shanahan, Brendan Shanahan, the president of the Leafs, said expect a lot more sweeping changes. So the Maple Leafs just cleaning house now. No surprise there.
No. I can't wait till Phil Kessel gets traded because he's just a disappointment. That guy sucks.
He's going to get traded. I wouldn't be surprised
He's
if,
a great player. He's such a diva. He thinks he's the greatest thing on since sliced bread.
Wouldn't be surprised if Dion Phaneuf goes as well.
Would you really not want him to come here? I think he'd play well here.
I don't want Dion Phaneuf.
Why?
I want his wife, but I don't want Dion Phaneuf.
Well, forget his wife. Just for
how can anybody forget Elisa Cuthbert?
Keep her on your lap of your mind. Now,
that I will.
Ooh,
sweet Dave.
Now, why wouldn't you want Dion Phaneuf here? I think he'd play good here.
He's overpaid for what he does.
Yeah, but if we could get him at a better rate, would you? No.
I'm happy with our defenseman. I don't think we need Dion Phaneuf.
I'd trade
very overrated.
I'd trade him
defenseman.
for Schuster in a second.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. So
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Anyway, let's get out of some playoff talk here, and we've got a few other topics to get into. There was some talk in the playoffs about the whole PK Subban thing, where he, the Canadiens, where he injured Mark Stone, broke his wrist, how he should be suspended. Get over yourself; it ain't going to happen. And Chris Neal on the Senators talking about retribution.
Oh,
if that happens, expect him to get suspended because referees hate that guy to begin with.
Yeah, he's a piece of crap.
But the assault, you heard that talk about the assault by PK Subban, but it wasn't as bad as, say, being assaulted as a police officer with breast milk.
No, it's absolutely not as bad. But you know what? I'd rather be assaulted with breast milk than get hit by a stick from PK Subban before he dove on the ice. He did do a pretty good dive after that. But you never know. I mean, when you break your wrist or fracture your wrist, it hurts pretty good, especially when they catch you and they slash you right there. Anyways, so there was a altercation by an Australian woman who could spend up to 18 months in jail for drenching a police officer with a wonderful barrage spray of breast milk. This is legit. And, of course, it's coming from a pretty unlegit website, but I did cross-reference this. According to the Mirror, Erica Leader took issue with her treatment from the Rockingham police station in Western Australia. Once there, it is alleged Leader became involved with an altercation with a female officer. According to the cop, the breast milk squirted on her face, arms, and uniform. Now, the incident happened during a body search when the lady... I'm sorry, her name is Erica Leader. Why did I say something? Did I say something else there? I don't care. Whatever. Like we said before, we do our homework, but it was eaten by the dog. The lady, the mom of three, is fired. She fired the fluid at the officer after she rearranged her clothes. So that she got all pee hurt about the. She's like, that's an awful lot of fluid to use against an officer. That was one of the quotes from the officer. So this lady did a little squirt and tickle, a little lactating. She should move to Japan and sell her stuff on the open market, man. She could make a hell of a killing.
Actually, yeah, in Japan they are
$40 a mouthful.
In Japan, they're big fans of lactation.
Oh God, here we go.
Well, speaking of Japan, I'm gonna skip ahead in our little agenda here since we're talking about Japan.
No, don't skip ahead. No, go with the next one. No,
okay.
because that one ties in very nicely in that segment. I know where you want to go.
Okay.
Now we just broke the fourth wall, so anything can tie in nicely.
Well, okay, the next one that we're going to talk about here, this is a great one. Speaking of awkwardness, Mother's Day may be a little awkward for this gentleman who apparently tried to shoot an armadillo in his yard.
As well he should
Oh,
have.
why wouldn't you?
They,
Yeah.
have leprosy, they do. They carry leprosy.
They do, yeah.
Yep.
Anyways.
The armored rat of the earth.
And I after reading the story, I really want to know what type of weapon he tried to shoot it with, because the bullet bounced off the armadillo, then bounced off a fence, traveled 100 yards, went through the wall of his mother-in-law's mobile home, through the recliner she was sitting in, and hit her in the back.
Mitch, please.
Damn. Damn.
The armadillo did die from the shot, but I can't imagine bouncing off of an animal, a fence, traveling 100 yards, going through a wall and through a recliner before hitting somebody.
What did he say when he was going to shoot it?
Break yourself, fool!
Oh, he's break yourself, fool.
What? Good God. Dude, he was busy today, dude, with all these stupid samples.
Yeah,
This
he
is the
really-
last day. Just have your way. This is the last day you get.
Yeah, he really spent a lot of time with this. Now, you know, I feel bad for the mom, but chances are she nagged him quite a bit. Now,